Welcome to the Healthspan Collective, the podcast where science and wellness converge. I'm Nicole Doran, and I'm thrilled to have you join us as we dive into the world of regenerative medicine, integrative health, and the latest science and trends shaping how we live healthier for longer. I am so excited for today's guest. Krista Williams is the co-host of one of the top health and wellness podcasts, Almost 30, which has amassed over 100 million downloads. She is a public speaker, retreat facilitator, and creator of Metamorphosis, a body transformation program, and The Life Edit, a total life transformation. Through her work, Krista has established herself as an influential person in health, wellness, and spirituality today. I remember you guys bringing your ex and his friend on.
This is so crazy to me.
It was probably your first year, it wasn't long.
Babe, it was like the 10th episode.
Yeah.
And the sound was horrible.
How I found you, I have no idea. I didn't listen to podcasts at the time. So you were the first podcast, Almost 30 was the first podcast I ever listened to. And when I tell you, it was like a religious experience for me every week. When it came out, it was like, I can picture myself walking out of my apartment in New York, I went to Pace University, walking to Pace, listening to you guys. And it was so cool because you were discovering spirituality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But also talking about previous experiences of
stuffing our bras
and cheating on your boyfriends.
Yes.
And it was what was so impactful for me was how relatable it was. Mm-hmm. Because it was I was living this super messy early 20s
mm-hmm.
life in New York, literally blacking out drinking every weekend, mm-hmm. but was also so interested in growing spiritually, figuring out my health. I was
mm-hmm.
in this body that I just felt so disconnected to. Mm-hmm. My audience knows I've been in the ups and downs with PCOS and hormone imbalance and all these things for all these years. And what you really introduced me to was this tie of it's not really about what you're yes, it is
mm-hmm.
about what you're putting in your body,
mm-hmm.
but it's more about why.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, that makes me emotional just thinking about, because you do podcasts. So when you're in it, you're just sitting here and this is the moment and then it goes out. And I think with social media and the internet, you kind of just see numbers, but you don't really see the people mm-hmm. and you don't really allow yourself to get into the minds of everyone that's listening. And, the fact that us just being ourselves was the thing. And I think even in my career, the further I've got from being the most authentic, the less successful I've been, the more authentic I've been, the more successful I've been, which is sometimes kind of hard when you're a public figure. You're okay, what's mine and what's theirs? And yeah, I think in our process of Almost 30, we couldn't have learned, we learned so much. I've learned so much in the 10 years from so many amazing guests and experts. And I think in my body journey in particular, and when you were talking about that feeling of disconnected and realizing that you're more than that, that was one of the biggest unlocks for me was realizing that I was a soul and mm-hmm. not a body mm-hmm. and that I had so much more to do than be a certain weight or look a certain way. And I think finding my purpose with Almost 30 really helped that because I was so desperate to find a reason for being here. Mm-hmm. I've been existential since I was 4. I've been what is the point of this whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
I was such an emo kid in some ways. And so to really realize the importance of the soul and purpose was so huge. But I'm just so grateful to connect with women like you. What a dream to be a part of someone's path and someone's journey in their life, especially in times when you feel so disconnected.
Yeah. Well, it's really the honesty of sharing the struggle.
Yeah.
That connected me so much more than somebody even sharing a success story.
Gosh, it's so medicine for me now because, it's funny at the beginning, and this is just really truthful. At the beginning, you didn't have a platform or you didn't really have an understanding. So I was just sharing how much I was struggling because, I wanted to find my purpose. I was really depressed and anxious. I had been in a corporate job, but I hated it. I had struggled so much with my body. I was in a relationship that wasn't super aligned. I was trying to figure out friendships. My life was just felt all over the place. And now through the process of building the business, my life just so good. And sometimes now it gets hard because I have people watching. So it's like, I don't want to share about the struggles because then it's like, it's hard. So it's just like such a reminder that, you know, the truth is what really connects people, and what people are struggling with is what really can help people. And I think you're inspiring me to remember that like what I'm struggling with right now is going to be supportive for someone else.
Yeah. What do you think your biggest fear with sharing now that you are such a larger public figure is?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when you become a public figure, I guess, whatever I am, there's other people involved. So I just remember in my process, like at the beginning, you know, like I would just talk about my mom and talk about my dad and talk about my boyfriend and just share about everything. And then you like go in and then your mom calls you and she's like, hey, you said this about me. And then someone else is like, hey, you said this about me. And then, you know, so other people are involved. So it gets a little bit harder to own your own truth and your narrative. And I think truthfully, you know, I am someone that's like more now processing things for myself. Like I really, like my dad is really sick as an example. He has Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, and it's really tough. And I've never had a sick parent. I've never had a parent dying. And so to go through that, there's a part of me that's like actually very protective of my experience.
Yeah.
And no matter what, if we share online, we're going to be thinking about how the other person's receiving it. And it just opens things up. So there's a really beautiful part of it where I'm just much more private to my process. But then there also is probably the part of me that's like, I want to be perfect. I want to be like thought out. I want it to be valuable. You know, I want to like, you kind of get a content brain a little bit. And I think we all kind of have that now.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering if it does get to a point where, like we were saying, when you guys, especially when you guys were sharing early on, I mean, podcasting was like, there wasn't like a blueprint for it.
Not at all.
You guys literally made a blueprint
We literally
for
did.
it.
I like don't talk up myself, but we literally made a blueprint for that.
Did.
Yeah.
It was called Podcast Pro, right? Like you literally made to sell a blueprint for it because it was nobody knew how to start a podcast 8 years ago. And there was no format for like what's acceptable to talk about versus not, like what we should be talking about.
Yes.
All of that. And that's what I was wondering is if now, because it is such a production, like we're literally in a rented studio in LA right now because I'm traveling, and there are plenty of podcasters that need to rent studios, right? Which is awesome.
Yeah.
But I would think that, your mindset kind of changes over time of like what's kind of more acceptable, what's, just that content brain.
Yeah. I think the content brain and self-censorship, you know, women and people that are perfectionists or people pleasers, maybe you grew up in a house with a narcissist, you know, I've had all of those things. You oftentimes have a part of you that censors. You know, I have to censor what I'm going to say to be liked. I can't say that one thing that might hurt their feelings. If I say this, they might not like that. You know, I've had that a lot in my life. And so when you become a public figure and, you know, you get a lot of feedback or you get a lot of criticism or you get people that have opinions, it's hard to not take it in. And a lot of times when you take it in, you become more censoring of yourself. So all the censorship that comes on the outside then is no match to the way that you're going to censor yourself from the inside. So I think the way that I censor myself now or think about stuff now, it's interesting because there's still a part of me that enjoys having a personality and like experience offline. Like I don't want to just be someone that's like, I'm getting divorced, everyone. I'm getting, you know, like whatever that is. But I think it's really working with like what is truly unauthentic to me and where am I not sharing because I perceive people to think something of me. Like what is actually true. And I think we can come out of self-censorship when we just come to the truth of how we feel outside of what anyone else thinks. And I think that's the goal in life for many of us, is to live in a way that's true and authentic to us outside of what anyone else thinks or what anyone else perceives. And so I work on that all the time. I could be better. Like I would love to be more uncensored in a way. But I'm also someone that knows that everything lives online forever and knows I'm going to change my mind in like a month.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the thing too, is you also are like, wait, I literally don't think any of that.
Well, it's literally like, within a matter of a few weeks sometimes it's like, oh, I've completely
like everything
changed my mind
like
about
you said, the first episode was like me and my ex-husband and like his friend, and we were talking about dating profiles. Like in a conference room, like I was, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like, I love her so much, but you're like, okay, there's more to life.
Like, frankly, I'm so glad I wasn't doing this back then. Like when I was 23, because just the things that I would have talked about.
Your prefrontal cortex wasn't online. You know what I mean? You were not processing things in this. And I was interrupting people. I said totally every second. I was saying hell yeah all the time. I just was I was a piece of work, but we have to be that version of us to be who we are. And I think I've just come to a place of such deep acceptance and being so proud of myself. Like I did so many cringe things. I did so many things that were just off the wall, so lame. I hurt a lot of people in the process, like my family, and talking about certain stuff that was really personal. But I'm just so proud that I always listened to the call of my soul. Like I would die before not listening to the path that I'm supposed to be on. And I'm so grateful that even when it's been cringe, I've still done it.
Yeah. What do you think has been the most, you've talked to so many people over the years, whether and experienced so much, you know, I'm sure in the name of research for the podcast. So whether it's a conversation that you had on the mic or one off the mic, is there someone or something that you were like, that was a pivot point?
Yeah, we had Dick Schwartz on, you know, Internal Family Systems.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Dick Schwartz, he's a psychotherapist, author, teacher, and he founded Internal Family Systems.
Okay.
And Internal Family Systems is a psychotherapy technique. And it's what I use now with my clients. It's just so powerful. And in our podcast, he really helped break down a pattern for me and helped me understand my life in a way that I use every single day. And so basically he worked with eating disorder patients for a long time. So he came on, he was talking to us about his experience working with eating disorder patients. And if you've binged or purged or restricted, you know this process. But he was talking about one of his clients that he had who was a binger, and I was a binger. And he would say that, you know, she would come in some days and be like, I binged all night. Like I had 12 ice cream bars and all these things. And then the next day would come in like, okay, I'm ready to, you know, hit my schedule. I'm ready to be perfect. I'm ready to follow the plan, all these things. And it was almost like two people were present. You know, if you're a binger or someone that's controlling, you almost have two people. Yeah. We all know when that like part of us comes online. If you binge, you're like, I was possessed. Like it's a whole experience. And he's like, this is so interesting because you know, this is one person with two experiences. And then you start to really realize that within us, there are parts. And these parts are created through experiences in our lives as a way to protect us. So as an example with the binger, my binger part, I'll say, was created in my life, or she was made in my life to help soothe me. So I learned that when my family wasn't consistent, when I didn't have love regularly, when I needed help and emotional regulation, I could always turn to food. Food is like such a great support. It gives you all the dopamine and the serotonin, and it's always there for you. So instead of going to family and having that secure attachment with my family, I had a secure attachment with food and learned to binge. So where this thing that became really painful for me to do, binging, also was really supportive for the part of me that needed support and regulation. And then we learn the other part of us that's really restrictive or controlling is the part that just wants to keep us safe because she believes to be thin is to be loved. So it really helped me just understand all these aspects of my personality and the person that I was. And most importantly, it helped me understand that there is a self, like a capital S self, our soul that exists, that is perfect and loving and outside of all of the patterns and the addictions and the ways in which we abandon ourselves. Our self is always loving, is always present, is always there. And the more we can access that part of us and be with that part of us, the more powerful we are, the more loving we are, the more whole we are. And so really having this framework for understanding patterns, addictions, ways of being really, really changed the trajectory of my life. And it was because he came on the show and we did like a live parts work session.
Wow. So I was a binger as well.
Okay, what was your vibe? Let's talk about the binge vibe.
Sugar baby.
Okay, say more.
It was whether I was coming home from a date, I was coming home from a night out, a hard day, an exam, you know, whatever. It was restrict all day, be good all day. Be whatever phase I was in, freaking
South
keto,
Beach,
vegan, keto.
I was vegan keto for a little bit. I put on literally 20 pounds because I was eating like MCT oil and coconut and avocado for lunch.
Just fat all day long.
All day. My body was like, I smelled so bad.
Oh my God. Yes. I was running. I was like training for a half marathon.
I was cracking SoulCycle twice a day.
Yeah.
Having vegan keto. I was like, it's time for bulletproof lattes again.
Oh yeah, fat and caffeine.
Oh yeah,
that was the diet.
Caffeine was okay. Yeah, it was like butter until 6 p.m. and then at 6 p.m. I would eat like nuts and MCT oil.
Oh yeah, and it was like, oh yeah, can I put like stevia in this chocolate?
Yeah,
to like and cover the nuts. ugh.
It makes me sick.
I feel oily just thinking about it.
I know. Dude, I remember my ex-husband at the time was like, dude, your breath smells so bad, dude. I was like, I'm such a psycho. I'm like, it's your breath bouncing off of my breath. It's not mine. He's like, you're psycho. I'm like, okay.
But yeah, so it's like, it started when I was literally a freshman in high school. I started at like, honestly, near the size I am now. Like I was a healthy weight. Like I looked and felt very good. And it, I think, started actually with my first relationship and my first breakup. And the irony of it is I didn't even like him that much. It was just about the loss of the identity of being someone's girlfriend at 14 years old. Right. And the relationship with food was somewhat learned. Like my dad was a bodybuilder. There is innate, I mean, he's a man, so he just kind of innately has like a healthier relationship with food than women do, right? But there was like, it was a thing in my house that we're like, we're on it, or we're on the wagon, or we're off the wagon. Like we're eating healthy Monday through Friday, and then we're eating pizza on Saturday. And I just kind of like built this pattern where it was, I restrict all day and I binge at night. Like I remember eating like 5 Nature Valley granola bars while I was trying to study for an exam. Like what? It's not even good. Like I wasn't even like binging
bars
on things.
were my binge. I think you guys, you know, it's so crazy. When I lived in New York, I was eating 6 Quest bars a day. I'm not kidding.
Oh my, like
what's up with your? I got a rash on my face. I went to the doctor and he's like, "Are you eating a lot of something? There's like a rash on your face." I was like, "Yeah, I guess it's the 6 Quest bars a day that I was eating, just like in the psychosis." But you know, as a binger, you become possessed.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a different part of you that comes forward that's like, I need to soothe. And if you've been in a fight with someone you love, or, you know, had one of those moments where you almost feel like you're just taken over. It's like that part of you is so deeply blended to you and so deeply a part of you. And the work we do to support that is really getting to know, love, and honor that part, and give them the tools and resources outside of binging to support themselves and feeling better. What was your process with healing from binging?
You know, I didn't even, like, I couldn't even really fully recognize that I was like in a binging pattern while I was in it for so long. Like I had this like loop of being like, I have PCOS and I eat so healthy and I don't know why I can't lose weight. Like it doesn't line up. Like that was like this lie I was telling myself. It was actually my now husband and I came to stay with my parents in Florida. We lived in New York during COVID. And it was like the world calmed down. My stress calmed down. I couldn't go out. My parents don't drink, so we stopped drinking. Life just became so calm. And I was also in a happy relationship, which really helped. It's like I almost hate to admit that played such a role, but it did for me.
For sure.
And
we're cellular beings. Like yes.
And I actually released for the first time. Like I remember telling my coworkers, like, oh yeah, like we would like go to my dad's office because no one was there, and we would just like work, like do our remote jobs, like in our own little like office suites. We were 25 and we felt like so like it was like we were like Florida. Cosplaying executives. Yeah, totally. You know? Yes. And I would like order lunch, and I had a cookie every day for lunch. And I remember telling my coworkers, like, yeah, I guess I just like don't care anymore. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, my clothes, like 3 months in, I was like, my clothes are too big for me. And I also started to realize, and it was also like my mom was cooking dinner. We were eating like, it was like a gluten-free lasagna every night. Like she cooks like healthy, but it was still like, I wasn't counting the calories in the meal. Like I was just eating and living. And all of a sudden I was realizing like, oh, I'm not going into the kitchen at 11 p.m. every night to like house whatever, like bars or healthy, quote unquote, healthy cookies I had. Right. Even like I used to binge an entire bag of grapes.
Wow.
Like quote unquote, healthy stuff. Yeah. Right. And it's like, but it's like nobody is hungry for an entire bag of grapes.
Yeah.
Or like a whole watermelon. Like I'd cut up a whole watermelon and eat the whole damn thing.
For sure. That's classic. You know, I think that the journey usually is binging bad food, and then you like become healthy, and then you're like, what are the healthy foods I can binge? And you kind of get like the healthy binge vibe. But that's the interesting part of the journey with the body and learning to love your body or be in a body that you love, or even losing weight or feeling good, is it's not just one thing, like I've lost weight doing one thing and it never sticks. It really has to be a change in so many areas of your life. Like you have to get right in your relationships, because being right in your relationships means that you have safety in your body, means that your nervous system is regulated, means that you're feeling calm, means that you feel at peace. Speaking your truth and being fully expressed is also moving energy out of your body so it isn't stuck. Like being it's just, it hits on all things. And I think that was the most interesting part of my process, was that when I left my relationship, I had like a glow up because I was holding on to so much stress, tension, inauthenticity, outdated patterns, self-sacrifice, all these things. And my body just responded so beautifully because it was able to finally feel safe and be free. And then that allowed me to not only change my body, but just really accept my body for what it was. But I don't think that we can separate our body from our life. And I think we really want to try to do that, especially when we're first in the wellness game. We're like, if I eat this many calories and I work out this much, my body will change. And it's like, that's not really how the body works, especially when you're like a spiritual being. Like the people on your podcast listening are on spiritual beings on spiritual assignment. So like part of the body process is a part of your spiritual path. So being in relationship to it in a way that's kind and loving and supportive of its divinity is really important.
Yeah. Yeah. I very much like identify as a highly sensitive person.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that is physically, emotionally, and that's, I think it plays such a role. Yeah. It's like, if I am stressed, my body is not okay.
Yeah.
And it's even, I'm still on like the rolling waves of like the ups and downs with it, because even right now, like I'm kind of dealing with this whole like autoimmune mast cell activation thing. And it's like, is it physical? Is it mental? Is it emotional?
Yeah, that's what's a little hard about our space too.
Yeah.
I think about that. It's like, I wasn't sleeping for a little while. I was like, is it a Kundalini awakening? Is it mold? I'm like, is it like someone's psychically visiting me at night? I'm like, is it my cats? Is it my supplements? Like is it the astrology? Like it just kind of actually puts you into psychosis a little bit because we know so much information and we know so many things. So it's actually an important part of the process within spirituality or personal growth is being super, super discerning. Like in our path, I've been in this world for, over 10 years now in a way. And it's like the amount of information that I've been given access to and taught and shown and all of that is really beautiful. But there's a really important part of the process to prune and to be like, what is helpful? What is helpful? Sure, it could be the astrology that was keeping me awake, but it's like, is that helpful? Like, no. It's like, we need to figure out what is the strategy to help you get to sleep. So it's really, really great too that you also know that you're highly sensitive, because when you are highly sensitive, you need to move in the world differently and you need to interact with your life and other people and your relationships very differently because your experience is different than other people.
It's so funny too, because my mom always, like my mom is someone who, like I said, my dad was a bodybuilder. He's like, can break down the science of all of the shit for you. And he's actually really into like the spiritual side as well. And my mom is so much more just intuitive. Like she's never tried to counter calories or macros or anything, but she looks fabulous. She always has. Like she, and same spiritually, like she's kind of just like, that resonates with me, that doesn't. Like she's not going to think like too deep and hard about it, which there's so much to learn from that for me. Because like you said, it's like I can get caught in this loop of like over dissecting, and I literally went through the exact same thing. I'm not sleeping. Is it mold? Is it like my hormone? Like is it thyroid? Is it hormones? Is it all these things? Is it Is it the moon? Is it like?
That's the thing. That's why I love learning parts work and connecting to the self. And I call it like the inner mother. And sometimes I'll be like Queen of Swords energy just to like bring in archetypes. But it's like you have to like. There's such a part of me that's just like, no, I'm so unavailable to like let my loop thoughts run my life. At this point, I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Like having a part of you that's very focused and like boundaried of like, hey, you're not sleeping. Let's think about these things. We're not going to be going down the path of all of this stuff because it will make you crazy. Yeah. And it's so important for people to be diligent and like mindful of their thoughts. In A Course in Miracles, it says an untrained mind can accomplish nothing. And without really being mindful of what our thoughts are like going on, we just kind of lose ourselves in the sauce.
Totally.
And I've done that so much.
Same at different points in my life.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. You mentioned after your divorce, you had this physical glow up because you feel like you released that energy. Was there also spiritual things that you felt were blocked before you allowed yourself to end the relationship or kind of walk away?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was, we were in a relationship for 10 years. And then we were married for 1. We had a wedding, but didn't legally get married. But I just say married because it would feel weird to like have the wedding people see and then not know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whatever people want to think about that is fine. But we had a ceremony. And, you know, at the end of the relationship, it just became clear to me that we were 2 people that were on very different paths. And although we were very aligned for a lot of the relationship, in the end, our souls chose different paths. And a lot of the patterns that I had been in that relationship were self-erasure, holding back. I felt really small. I felt really judged. I felt really, I didn't feel safe to be myself or be who I was or be the person that I wanted to be. And, you know, I'll never forget on one anniversary, it was like one of the last anniversaries together, you know, when you're like struggling as a couple, it's like anniversary night is like fight night, you know, like it's like you have plans and then fight night happens and you're just fighting because that's what you do. Every special event, you just fight. And so we were fighting and I was just sitting on the edge of my couch and I just heard my soul speak to me so clearly. I was bawling my eyes out. Because at this moment, I had tried everything. I was like, I'm going to try and be really sweet and be really feminine. I'm going to try and be really open and be really loving. Like I had been trying to do all this stuff. And my soul was like, for the right person, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be yourself. And I was like, oh my God. Because I had been trying to be nice, perfect, process for him, process for me. Like, again, all of the work that I had done or all the things I had learned were consuming me away in a way it was actually not supportive of me because it was making me feel like I had to be perfect. And so in leaving that relationship and really doing everything that I could, turning myself inside out, learning every lesson that I could possibly learn in that container, there was so much that I was able to learn. But after, when we broke up, the glow up really happened because a lot of the beliefs that I had about myself in that relationship were I need to hide. It's not safe to be big. It's not safe to shine. It's not safe to be myself. I shouldn't express myself. I talk too much. I'm too much. All these things. So if I'm interacting energetically with another being that's affirming these beliefs, or I have these beliefs around that person, then almost 80% of the time, all the time I'm at home, all the time we're together, I have these beliefs running in my head. And all of these beliefs are impacting the way that I look and the way that I show up in the world. So my physical body and my energy frequency was sort of subconsciously all of these beliefs. So when I left that relationship, you know, I got the freedom of my subconscious and the freedom of my mind back. And it was something I had to work on, but it was almost liberating because I was like, okay, I'm letting go of all these thoughts about being too much, about being all of these things. And I'm just going to allow myself to be the person that I came here to be. And with like a fresh thought pattern, you know, really working in therapy, really doing all the things, I was just able to come out a completely different cellular being that has like a completely different frame and a completely different experience. And I think the last thing I'll say is like, I remember growing up, all the programming around breakups was like, go have a breakup and then you like cry and you eat ice cream and you watch movies with your girlfriends on the couch and da-da-da-da. And like, dude, I had the best experience in my breakup. Like, said with love, like, this man, you know, all that I've said hopefully is in my experience. This man is a good person. But I just like, life got better every day. Like, it was beautiful. He's probably living a better life. I'm living a better life. And I really wanted to share about my process with the breakup or divorce because I want to rewrite the belief that like breakups have to be bad and breakups have to be horrible and breakups need to be something that we, you know, resist or we don't want to do because it can really, really, really be the biggest up-level opportunity and timeline shift of anyone's life.
Totally. Do you feel like that phase, this phase of transition during the breakup was even more impactful than like your Saturn return phase?
That's a really great question. I think this feels like a better outcome. For me, like I loved the Saturn return phase. So my Saturn return phase was purpose. Like I was really struggling to find my purpose. I was burning myself out. I was really struggling with female relationships, and I was really struggling with my body. So those were like the struggles that I went through. So it was really painful. And I would say that a lot of those probably took a few years to work through. So it's not like I saw them as much so quickly, where this process, like I saw better results more quickly, even though I had been in pain in a long time. So it's interesting because in the work, you don't kind of see the results of what you're doing until like a moment where you're like, whoa, I feel good. You're like, whoa, I'm not relating to my body in the same way. Or, whoa, I have a really amazing friendship with this person. Or, whoa, I just did the thing I'm afraid of. But I think this process of the divorce feels more powerful and profound. But I think the Saturn return was more painful and definitely set me up to probably make the choice of the divorce, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking as you were talking. You had to go through the Saturn
For
return
sure.
to grow into like who you are, to be able to make a clear and strong decision like that. And then it be this like clearing, freeing thing.
Yes.
As opposed to this like, okay, now this is a rock bottom and I have to wallow and all that.
Yeah. And that's, you know, I wish it wasn't true, but the healing process is not linear. You know, sometimes I was talking to this about a client the other day. She had a really big win. We had like a really big win. It was like, yes, this is amazing. Like I was like, oh my God, like I was like, that is worth every dollar of this. And then, you know, had a setback. And it's like one of those things where you think that it's just going to be like a win, a win, a win, a win, a win. And it's like, nope, sometimes you go forward, sometimes you go back, sometimes you go side to side, sometimes you go up, down, sometimes you're down on the ground for a little bit, sometimes you're flying high. And in the healing process, it's all like builds, like each thing that I've learned built on the other, whether it was like doing Reiki training or like, you know, getting certified in IFS or getting certified as a life coach. Like I literally had to be at the previous step to make it to the next step. The door had to open in front of me for the next door that was behind it to open. It's never been out of order. And I think I really realized that each thing is so necessary. And I think we want to just find the end game and we want to find the end step, but each part of it is so incredibly necessary for our growth.
Yeah. I love that so much.
Where do you feel like you are in that process? Like, what do you feel like you're in right now?
Well, what I was thinking while you were talking is asking you, like, do you feel like it's been the same thing for almost 30, like with the business?
That's a good one.
Like, I feel like I've heard you guys mention, like, there were certain guests that really, like, elevated, like, grew your following, grew your listenership, right? But have you felt like it's just been a slow, steady, or maybe not slow and steady, like maybe a quick and then slow and steady growth, Pat? Or have you felt like there have been, like, downturns?
Yeah. Yeah. So when we started Almost 30, like, a lot of what we really grew up in a class of people, like, and what I mean that in like a high school sense class, like we had Lacey on super early. It was like our first podcast, Jenna Zoe, both two of my closest friends. We had John Wineland on, you know, we had really, really early people in this Sahara, like early people in the spiritual game. And we all kind of grew up together and we all kind of like created like a new lane and a new wave of what we were doing. And so that really helped grow us. We had Kelly LeVeque on that really helped grow us. And so at the beginning, it really, really grew really fast. And then I think over the years, it's been more steady. But there have been moments where it was like, I remember like one of the hardest months of my life. It was literally the hardest month of my life. And I was like, we've made the most money this month. It was during COVID. I was like, we've made the most money this month and we've got the most listeners this month. I was like, what the fuck? And then there'd be other months where I'm like, oh, I'm like scared of what's going to happen. And like, and it really is like a thing as an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur needs to really build your nervous system for the times to go up and down. You know, it's going to be something where sometimes it's really flying and sometimes it's not. Sometimes, you know, you really have to know why you're doing what you're doing so that you don't get off the path and you don't get scared. And so I've always had Lindsay to kind of be my person of like, you know, whenever I'm down, she's up. Whenever she's up, I'm down. Like, it's actually the most beautiful thing. Like, we talk to each other every week and she'll get on the phone and she's like, yo, dude, I'm like, whatever. And I'm like, I don't even care about that. Like, I'm so good. Like, they're whatever. And then I'll get on and be like, yo, what the? And she's like, oh, that's all good. You know, like, we just balance each other. So having someone that's helped me regulate has helped me stay true. But yeah, it's been, it's been up and down, and there were times of big growth and there were times of like not, but I really truly, if I would attach myself to that, I would be so unhappy. I would be so stressed out. Like I have learned over the years that there are specific things I need to do to keep my mental health. And that's not follow the numbers. That's not follow social media as much. And that's really just stay true to what I know to do and do what I came here to do.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, I think it's true. I mean, that's a very good lesson for me. I think just being like earlier in my journey, obviously very early with the podcast. And I mean, we have 2 medical clinics in Florida. One we got involved with 5 years ago. The other one opened last week.
That's amazing.
But it's hard to not attach like your, I don't know whether to call it confidence value sometimes.
For sure.
In like, what's the success of this business? Did we make more money this month than we did last month? Did we make more money this year than we did last year? And if we didn't hit a goal, what does that mean for like my worthiness? Which like feels like I can recognize when I say it out loud how wrong that like is, right? But it's like it's something that's really ingrained very deeply.
And I think some people have different relationships with it. Like, men oftentimes are like, okay, we didn't hit the goal. What can we do differently? And they can be much more rational and logical and not make it about them. But I think we as women oftentimes will make it about something that we did wrong or that we are bad.
Yeah.
And there's something wrong with us.
Oh, yeah.
And so, the problem isn't the numbers or the business revenue, it's our relationship to it. So if we can heal that, then it's all fine. But I think for me, it's like, I used to be so obsessed with it, the numbers and all of that. And in the end, I was like, I'm living so well. I love myself and I love my life. Like what more is that going to give me? And whose goals am I after?
Yeah.
What am I trying to do here? And when we can really get clear on like, what does abundance mean to me? What does this extra revenue mean to me? What am I even going to do with it? I'll never forget. It was early on in our business journey. At the end of the year, we had, I was talking about numbers for the business and I was talking to my ex and I was like, oh yeah, I want to do X amount this year. And he's like, you want to double your revenue? And I was like, yeah, like we made this much this year. I want to make this much. And he's like, that's not like what normal businesses do. He's like, normal businesses want to grow by 10%, 15%. Like, he's like, where'd you get that number? And I'm like, oh, like this person did this much. This person did this much. And I was like, I was trying to apply other people's blueprints and other people's lives to my life. And I was like, that isn't what I want. That isn't how I want to live. And I was really unconsciously forcing myself into a paradigm of a goal that didn't even feel true for me. Yeah. Like, what is the goal in the number? And this is a lot of Tony Robbins money work, but what is a lot of the goal in the number that you actually need for your life? So say I want to have a really beautiful home. I want to send my kids to private school. I want to vacation twice a year. I want to have healthy food all the time. How much money does that mean I have to earn, if I lived in Florida? $1 million a year, we'll say, whatever, 2 million a year, who knows, $1 million a year. Great. So what is the number to get back from that? Like, I think a lot of us just want this exponential number. Yeah. I want this much and then I want this much and I want this much. And it's like, what is sustainable? What is actually going to make you happy? And then if we're not happy in the process, what's the point?
Totally. And recognizing the growth, like you,
oh my gosh, totally.
Like you just said, it's like sometimes we set these goals out for ourselves where I'm like, dude, 5 years ago, if you told me I was driving the car that I'm driving now, which like, not to attach it to something so material, but it's just like, if I'm being honest, it's something that brings me joy in my day to day.
Totally.
And like, I'm able to do that. Like, just be like, let's just recognize that. Let's not focus on the next house I want to buy or like just the things that I haven't accomplished yet.
Yeah. Because then you're caught up. Like, that's when you're caught up in the matrix. That's when you're caught up in, that's when you're just caught up. You're part of the program that they want you to just keep putting in work, keep working for it. And it's like, whose life is this? Not mine.
Yeah.
And it's also important, this is why I love coaching and working with coaches, because it's like, it's really nice to have someone that's like, yo, that is amazing what you've done. Like, we don't often have people in our lives, or a lot of people don't, that are going to just be like, I am so proud of you. What you're doing is incredible. What you're doing is amazing. And be that coach and reminder for us about how far we've come, because so many of us just like, the next goal, the next goal, the next goal. And we never really stopped to celebrate.
Yeah. You've mentioned a couple of times, like sinking into a more feminine energy. And I know that's something that's been a big part of your journey. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah. And to be honest, you know, I never thought I'd be talking about this. Like
Really?
never. Oh my gosh, never. You know, I was someone that was very in my masculine in my marriage, very in my masculine in my business. We had someone come on the podcast and he was like, oh, Krista. He's like, you have 2 wives. You have Lindsay and then you have your husband. He's like, you're the man for 2 wives. And I'm like,
whoa.
I was like, I am. Like in the business, I was fully running the show, holding the frame, like just fully in my masculine. And then at home, I didn't feel safe. And I wasn't really in a situation where I was with someone that was like holding that, you know, masculine container. So once I get out of that relationship and, you know, I'd shift in the business a lot with Lindsay and really able to like step into my feminine in a way that felt really authentic and true.
Yeah.
And not like the way I had seen it online. You know, I think a lot of people in the conversation about the feminine use it as a way to make women feel bad about themselves, make women feel less than, make them feel like they're doing something wrong. Also to be something that's sort of like just showing things that are like sexual, but like, you know what I mean? I'm like, that's not even it. Like, and it can be the unique experience for whoever. That was also something I've really realized and I bring through in any of my work around it. Like my feminine experience might be different than yours. Like I might have more masculine energy than you have. So the goal that I'm looking for is going to be different than someone else's. Like the goal is actually really integrated balance. But I think when I think about being in the feminine, I just think about such a more truthful, a pleasurable way of being. That means I'm moving slower, like I'm resting more, I'm enjoying my body, I'm enjoying my food, I'm enjoying the experience, I'm trusting of life, I'm magnetically, you know, in relationships with men, and I can just really be more of myself. And I think that's the biggest thing with the feminine is it's like, it's not about presenting or performing or being more of something else. It's just really about being more of who you are.
Yeah.
What's your thought of it? What's your feminine relationship?
It's something I've been thinking about a lot lately because especially, so I mentioned I used to live in New York. I used to work in advertising. Advertising is like honestly a very feminine space. It's mostly women and gay men.
Yeah.
And I fucking loved being in that environment every day. I loved being surrounded by creativity. And it was like, it was just really like inspiring to me on a day to day, right? And then I moved to Florida, and which was so healing on so many levels, as I mentioned earlier, getting into the medical industry. A lot of female employees, but everyone like on the executive level is male besides me. And there was imposter syndrome for just like how young and inexperienced I was. And just like from like just being myself, like once again, being in a larger body, there's a lot of like confidence that is lacking. At least on my end, not for everybody. But yeah, there was just a lot. And I felt that like, it's funny that I'm like wearing this blazer dress today. Cause I used to like in the first year of work, I think I wore an oversized blazer to work every day because I literally felt like and heels, because I felt like I have to like take up space and like be like, I literally had a coworker one time say like something at the big boys table. And we were like sitting at a conference table and like I was at the big boys table, but like, it's just like, it made me want to puke.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the space that I'm in now.
Yeah.
And then I kind of grew into it a little more and made it my own, but I definitely embodied a much more masculine like persona than I was in previously. So I'm trying to kind of come back to it I'm trying to kind of recenter myself, especially in thinking about, you know, my next phase is hopefully motherhood. It's a very feminine, creative space. And I am like so feminine and creative in my heart and soul. And so it's something that I try to think about a lot of like, also I want to lead in a more feminine way. And it's just a funny thing because it's like I need to carve the path, which in itself feels a little bit masculine, like just having to like take charge kind of thing.
With what, family, or what do you mean by that? Or work?
So my family and work are all intertwined.
Okay, cool.
I mean more in work, but it's intertwined in my family relationships. I literally work with my dad and my husband.
Okay.
My mom's in the office all the time. My sister's in the office all the time. Like it's one of those things. I have I run our marketing team. So it's like I want to lead in a really strong way there. But I also want to kind of create the space that I used to have for my marketing team where it's like we feel free. They feel free to express creatively, speak freely, like be in that like fun creative space. But I have to like carve that out in our business because our business is very like healthcare operations, black and white, you know?
Yeah. So it's like, how do we bring in that element of that feminine creativity or that like flow into what you're doing? What comes to mind when you think about how you could do that?
I think it's funny because like I am someone who I'm very like ADHD. So I have a hard time I have like two sides. I'm a Gemini. So on one hand, I'm very ADHD and I have a really hard time being structured. On the other, I need structure. And like, so it's like, what comes to mind for bringing that feminine forward is like creating space for it.
Yeah.
I need to intentionally create space for it. I need to paint. I heard you say recently, like, make your surroundings beautiful. And I was like sitting in my office and it's like, there's just shit. Like,
I know.
not necessarily even shit everywhere. It was like, there's just like, it's not beautiful.
Yeah.
It's white walls.
Yeah.
And there's like one plant and it's like sad, you know?
I think that's such a beautiful way to bring femininity into everything. Like, I think we have a bad taste in our mouth with beauty. Like, we think of vanity like beauty, but it's not, you know, like creating and bringing beauty into a space is bringing life into a space. It's bringing plants into a space. It's bringing things that you love. It's photos of your family. It's like a cup or a mug that you love. And it's showing intention and it's self-care. Like, I'll never forget, you know, when I've had really crappy apartments before, I'm like, and just had old, you know, whatever. It was like, actually, like, that's how much I loved myself. And the more that I really have taken care of myself and loved myself, the more intention and thought that I'm like, I deserve to be in a beautiful space. Like, even if it's my coworker, even if it's my cubicle, like, I deserve to have really beautiful things around me. I deserve to have things that make me happy and things that make me smile. And I think we can kind of think we can kind of be like, okay, I have to be in my feminine. How do I do that at my job where I'm like, we're not doing this and whatever. And we're like, we kind of think we have to bring in like flower skirts and like, you know, cacao ceremonies. It's like, no, like just bringing beauty into the space, maybe making more free time, going in nature more often, creating like a creative hour where people can like bring up ideas or perspectives, letting people like update their schedules in a way that feels more in flow, like, you know, being more kind and loving and like affirmative and caring to people on the team and encouraging that. Like, it actually can be certain aspects of the feminine that are really easy to bring on board, but I think we sort of overlook. And so I think the part about bringing in beauty to your space is a really good one and an easy one for people that can do, that I think is just so nice, because that's been something that I felt really proud about. You know, I have a program called the Life Edit, and in the Life Edit, there's a section about like your space, and it's like a spatial edit. And in doing it, I had a lot of research that talks about the relationship between our mental health and our physical health and our space. And if you are in a space that has a lot of stuff or is very crowded, or, you know, even like a hoarding space, like, you're 75% more likely to be overweight. You're likely to have higher cortisol. You're likely to die sooner. Your mental health is directly impacted by your space. If you have a space where there's a lot of different things, you're going to feel more likely to be overwhelmed, more likely to be anxious. If you have bad lighting, you're more likely to be depressed. And so we can't really separate ourselves from our physical environment as much as we want. So taking our time to be mindful of it and the way we can be more intentional can not only help us feel better, but in a lot of ways help us be more feminine.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, I think it's almost like low-hanging fruit to start with. And then, yes, getting it more into just being more intentional with the way I'm communicating with others. I'm also someone, I'm like a people pleaser. And something I've really struggled with is just like, even going into the office, I'm like, I get nothing done. I get literally nothing done.
Did you talk to everybody?
because I let everyone come talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, and like on one hand, I travel all the time, and like there's an element of me that like feels bad that I'm not there more often. So I'm like, I feel like I need to like
totally make face,
like let people in. And it's like, I am the only like female leader. So I do feel that like itch for people needing that like motherly energy connection, just like the soul connection to the business. So it's just being more intentional even with that. Like recognizing, okay, I'm going to go into the office and I'm going to give 3 hours to just talk to people.
Yep. I love that. And I think that's a lot of the thing with everything I just want people to be conscious of. So in this example is perfect because before you were unconsciously in this situation where people were pulling on you, people were grabbing on you, and the people pleaser was like, I have to do this in order to be loved. I have to let people talk to me. I'm not going to be loved. I'm going to be rejected. But the more empowered way of thinking is, sitting, down and being like, okay, I'm noticing people need a lot from me at work. I'm noticing they want time with me. Okay, cool. How can I do this in a way that supports them and me? I'm just going to consciously take 3 hours, go into the office. I don't want to plan even to work. And I'm just going to give love to people. I'm going to be kind to them. I'm going to have a lunch with them. And so this feels good and an integrity for me to do this thing. I get something out of it. They get something out of it. And I don't feel this feeling like I have to do something in order to be loved. And I think a lot of the process of becoming more empowered or becoming, that future version of you is really just doing things like that, being in choice about what you're doing and not doing it because you feel like you have to do it to be loved.
Yeah. I love that so much. Thank you. I feel like I'm getting free coaching from you right now.
Yeah, it's my favorite. I'm like, I'll go in. I'm like, I am leaving at the door, the part where you're like, I'm going to be a mom and I have to step into my feminine. I'm like, what's there?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot with that too.
There's a lot there.
Of like, do you have a fear?
I did. I used to say, and I remember one of my practitioners like called it out on me one time because I was like, I used to be like, how am I going to bring kids into this mess? And she was like, why is it a mess? And I was like, because it feels like a mess. And it doesn't feel that way anymore, which is part of my inner knowing of like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I just wasn't ready on like many realms a few years ago. Yeah. But there's also that element of like, my mom is very in her feminine, especially when I was a little kid. She was really in her feminine. Like she was just really there. And I want to be that. Like I want to be able to like sink in and be present with my babies, like I could cry just thinking about it. Like I just like, she really set an example for me in that way. And I want to be able to be present in that way. And it almost like, it makes me realize how much I feel like I need to defrost to get there.
So you have the perception that something about you needs to change in order to be that, right?
Yeah.
And but it sounds to me like there's a part of you that's gripping tightly to the belief that you have to be working really hard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it is. It's like you have that experience of like that truth of what's making you emotional, where you're like that deep feminine desire of like a cellular desire to like be nurturing and loving to your kids, which is like it's the most natural, beautiful thing. And then so many of us have this other part that's just like, if we slow down, we will die. If I stop, everything's going to fall. If I don't do this, nothing will be okay. And we really have to just work with that part of that us that's like keeping most of us on such a tight leash and like be like, it's okay. Like, it's okay to slow down. It's okay. Like, and really like almost metabolizing, slowing down. Like, what would it look like to slow down in a week? Or what would it look like to slow down a little bit? Like, what would it look like to loosen the grip? Because your life wasn't meant to be lived in the way of just doing all the time. Like, you came here to be a mother and experience motherhood. And so it's almost like also empowering that part of you that's getting emotional and being like, this part's valid, that wants to do, but also the part of you that wants to be a mother in a real authentic way is just as valid. And so when you can kind of encourage that part, like to step forward and be like, okay, we're going to move forward with slowing down, with choosing the path of motherhood in a way that feels supportive and was like the experience that I had. And I know sometimes it's going to get uncomfortable and I'm going to have to work with the stress of feeling like I need to do more. But like, this is what I know to be cellularly true and what I'm like worthy and deserving of.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, you know, I think when you actually have baby in you and your brain changes and your hormones change, like there really is a beautiful change of who you are when you are pregnant and have a child that also supports you in choosing the path of greater love and nurturing for the child.
Totally. And I can feel that. And we were talking about even before we started recording, like that's also multifaceted because it's, you know, like your body changes so much, like that, how does that affect your career?
Yeah.
There's a lot there, but I think it's once again approaching it just with more softness and femininity as a whole is like what will be so healing.
We had a doctor on, Dr. Cleopatra, and I told her, I'm so scared of being a mom because I'm so scared I'm going to lose myself. You know, I'm not going to be enjoying my career. I'm not going to be like running around and all that kind of stuff. And she was like, I've only become more of myself. You know, that I've had the literal gift of becoming who I was by being a mother. And I was like, oh my God, like, it's just so true, you know, like in our deepest core for so many of us, whether, you know, that want to have children, like that is the most natural state of you. That's the most loving state of you. That's the most tender state. And so I think a lot of us, because we grew up with parents that, I'll speak for myself, but we grew up with parents that sort of, we were like an afterthought and we were kind of like an annoyance and we were kind of like, they had other things they wanted to do and we were kind of an accessory. We have this belief that our kids are going to make us slow down. Our kids are going to take from us. Our kids are going to like prevent us from living a life that we want. And I really have been working to reframe that for myself where I can really see truthfully that like children will just add to my life. Children will just make my life better. And yes, there will be sacrifice, but it's sacrifice that I want to make because I get so much value from it and they give me so much and I can also give to them. And because I don't want to be like thinking that making a course or like, you know, another podcast is like worth more than like having a life, you know, like with my husband.
Totally. Yeah, no, I've had the same thing because there's that element of like, I'm working so hard to build all these things and like, am I going to have to slow down? How does that shift? Like, I don't want it to not be my biggest priority anymore, but it's
tough. I think it's tough and it's a bummer because like men, love you, Kane, but you know, men don't. Okay, there we go. Men, when you're in heterosexual relationships, don't really have that sort of pressure in the same way.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we have to give up something. It's kind of assumed that they're going to be in the same path and the same role that they want to be in. So I think it is a unique experience a lot of times for women that want to have children when they're working, that they feel like they have to change and shift their lives in a way. And it can be heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be really interesting to navigate like as each step comes through.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
It'll be good.
One more thing, two more things actually. Something I've always found really interesting that you talk about is a friendship audit. And I've, you know, through my Saturn return, I went through like big friendship changes that really changed me.
Yeah.
Can you talk about a friendship audit and like what it means and why it can be so important?
Yeah. So the word audit can be savage, but it just kind of
I love it. I love though, like how clear it is.
And, you know, I think in life, oftentimes we have relationships that come in and out. And I think people that move in and out of our lives. And I think we naturally are auditing our relationships unconsciously. You know, like you'll hang out with a friend and, you know, you'll be like, we had the best time. Like that was just amazing. I feel so connected to them. I feel so seen. And you'll kind of like secretly move them up. Your ranks. You're like, oh, like they're like someone I want to hang out with again. Like there's someone that I really love. Like I want to do more of that. Or you have a situation where you're like, damn, I just had something big happen to me and they weren't really there for me and they didn't really show up or that didn't really feel good. And you kind of move them down, you know, the ranks. And there was moments where I realized in my life that I have people that I deeply love, like Lindsay as an example, my best friend and co-host, and she's so important to me, but I actually wasn't spending a lot of time with her.
Okay.
In a way, like we were working together, but we weren't spending quality time. And if you're in a deep relationship, you know this. If you're married, you're like, we're together all the time, but we're not actually spending quality time.
Yes.
So part of doing a friendship audit, which is basically essentially looking at all the relationships in your life and organizing them in a way so that you can see how you're spending your time and make sure that you're spending your time with the people that deserve it. For me, I was spending my time unconsciously with a lot of friends and people that, weren't necessarily really good friends. We were just kind of proximity friends, in my space and world, you can kind of meet a lot of different people. And I was like, if my time is so valuable and precious, I should be spending it with my tier 1 people, which was Lindsay, my other best friends. But I found myself spending a lot of time with people that I liked, but I didn't really, love or see a future with. So the way that people can do a friendship audit is, quarterly, yearly, whatever feels good. But just writing down all of your relationships in your life with people that you love, friends, near and far, and then just organizing them like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, or A, B, or C. Again, you're not showing them. You're not presenting this to everyone in a slideshow and being like, hey, you're tier 1, try and make it up. You're tier 3, try and make it up to tier 2 next year.
You're my top 8.
Literally, you're in my top 8. Yes, exactly. You're on my AMOA message. It's like I'm truthfully just trying to make sure that my energy is aligned with where I want to spend my time and that I'm in reciprocal relationships. A lot of times, so many women find that a lot of their friendships aren't reciprocal. They're hanging out with women that they don't feel like they're getting the same back in return and whatever. And so this can help you be in reciprocal relationships, be around people that you love, and make sure you're spending your time where you should.
Yeah. Did you ever have to actually break up with someone?
Yeah. I've had friendship breakups for sure. A lot of times I think friendship breakups can happen without conversation. It depends on how deep the friendship is. Yeah. So an example of friendship audit is perfect for me because in my tier 1 or A group, whatever, I have 5 friends that get every conversation, they would know if something is off. Right. So in those relationships, if I feel off about something or we need to clear, they're always going to get my honesty, my truth. I will go through hard conversations and hard times for them. But then there's other friends that, maybe just it's a season of their life or your life where you kind of move in and out and you're not as aligned. I just kind of let those go. But yeah, I've had friendship breakups where we didn't talk. I've had friendship breakups where we did. Yeah. And it's now something that I just truly trust myself and where I'm going. But I think having a hard conversation, this is what I'll say about it, is one of the most important skills you'll be able to have. Yeah. I think people can be so spiritually, mature or spiritual, but yet not able to have a hard conversation. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's usually the hardest work, is saying your truth to someone that you love. And so the skills that you build or can build through friendship breakups or hard conversations are just like skills for life.
Yeah, totally. I heard Gwyneth Paltrow talking about that recently, that that is a skill she is really working on, hard conversations. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it comes back to the business piece too. It's it's something, I'm constantly working on, being ready and willing to have hard conversations. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's, in friendships, in, marriage, in family. Yep.
The biggest ballers of people that I've met, interviewed, been in rooms with are able to say hard things like it's nothing. Yeah. One of my friends, she owns her company's worth $500 million. She's just so super successful. We were on a trip and something got messed up with our group. And, everyone was kind of freaking out. And she just goes, I'm so sorry. Immediately was just I'm sorry. It wasn't even her fault. And she was I'm sorry. What do you need me to do? I'm happy to support you in whatever way. What do you need? And it was just really powerful because she cut whatever weird energy there was, just took responsibility and then provided a next step in a way that was so quick, so supportive. And it just kept things moving. And I was like, oh, that's why you're the head of such a successful company, because you took accountability, you asked for a next step, and you just were solution oriented. Yeah. So if people want to do big things in life, you have to be able to speak to investors, speak to teams, speak to audiences, speak to your loved ones, and really just be yourself and say how you feel.
Yeah, I love that so much. Mm-hmm. We talked about kind of the spiritual, emotional side of physical wellness, but to get a little bit more surface with it, you've been open about using peptides and other things. Yeah. Tell me about it.
So on my path and journey, when I got divorced, there was so much change that I had just spiritually and emotionally. And I wasn't really focused on what I looked like at that time at all. But then I started to really change my workouts because I wanted to change what I was doing in general. So I started to lift, and I lift only now pretty much. I lift and walk. But in that process too, I started to work with a company to get my blood work done because I wanted to check on my hormones. I wanted to check on where I was at. And this company was like, oh, we have something called ceramorelin, and it's a peptide that, we suggest for people that want to build muscle and burn fat. It's basically stimulates your pituitary gland. So your pituitary gland releases human growth hormone and it helps your body build muscle, which is helping your body burn fat. So I was like, cool, like I'll try ceramorelin, and I got it and just had like 3 months of like amazing workouts, amazing results. So ceramorelin was the first peptide that I started taking probably a year ago at this point. I just noticed crazy muscle growth, crazy definition in my body. That was also being consistent at the gym, eating a lot of protein. And then since I've just taken so many different peptides, I take BPC 157, which is really helpful for your mental health. I have tyrosine 500. I take ipamorelin and CJC. I've taken GHKU, which is good for your skin. But basically peptides are small chain proteins, like small protein
amino
chains.
Acids.
Yeah, small amino acid chains. And they do a bunch of different things. They're not necessarily legal in all states. So there's different types of peptides that are legal in different places. It's kind of like really cutting edge. But I've found so many beautiful benefits of them. My skin is better, my fitness is better, my sleep is better, my energy is better. So now I don't really take any supplements. I just do peptides
Really?
I just do peptides like twice a week. Okay. I'll do like a certain round of things. You have to take breaks on them because, you want to be mindful of your body, but it's like my favorite thing.
Yeah, same.
Which ones do you do?
I do BPC. Right now I'm doing BPC 157, thymosin alpha 1, which is like an immune supportive.
Okay, cool.
It's awesome.
Sometimes I don't even know why I'm taking them. You said that. I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm taking that.
Yeah. I'm doing, and there's B12 in that one. I'm trying to think. Oh, I'll do shots of NAD.
I love NAD.
Which is not necessarily a peptide, but I'm injecting myself with it.
I love NAD. Love NAD. I'll like get my boyfriend, he like does peptides and he'll like in the morning just like put out like 5 syringes. I'm like, this isn't psychotic, but it's just interesting. It's just it's been a really powerful way to support my process. I think I was kind of overtaking so many supplements,
Same.
And I really wanted to see a different change. So for anyone that wants, I think ceramorelin and ipamorelin are my favorite for body composition. BPC is so good for your mental health.
And gut health.
And gut health too. And then the GHKU I think is really good for skin for people that want to explore.
Yeah, I want to start that one. My mom's been on it and she looks amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I've realized too. I'm like, this is what celebrities are doing.
Dude. Yeah, my parents have been on peptides for like
I was going to say, if they're bodybuilding, then they're doing that thing. Because this is what I realized too, because I was working out so much, 7 days a week, and I was like, I saw results. But then taking the ceramorelin, I'm like, oh, this is when my muscle growth really happened.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. I think my dad put me on that when I was like in college. I didn't even know what it was. You know what I mean? I was just like, I was big.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And like,
my dad got me diet pills in high school. I'm like, this is not okay, but whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like, he was like, this will help you burn fat. And like, I don't even think it did because I was just like I was just eating in excess and drinking in excess.
Of course. You're like, nothing can stop me now.
Yeah.
I am like, I would be like underneath the Froyo machine at the dining halls, just
I was addicted to Froyo. Like I
was addicted to Froyo because it was no fat.
Oh yeah.
So I was on the no fat. So I was like, okay, I would eat like 2 large things of Froyo for dinner.
Oh yeah.
A peanut butter and jelly for breakfast.
Skip dinner, there's this place called Yogurtland in Tallahassee, Florida, where I was in college, and I would just
R.I.P. Froyo machines.
Round it up.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Oh yeah. Anything else in your wellness routine right now that you're like, I want to shout this from the rooftops?
That's a great one. I think regarding this, there's 2 things. So regarding the supplements, what I realized, I think a lot of us in your audience have grown up in the wellness world. So there's been access to so many different supplements. We just get bombarded with things, probiotics, supplements, And actually I realized that, and I did a lot of research on this, that I was taking a lot of supplements and they're making me tired. And because our body only has so much energy to break down food, a lot of times if you're taking too many supplements, your body can be using so much energy to break down what is not a natural vitamin or mineral in your body. So it actually can take a lot of energy from you.
Yeah.
So I really think it's powerful when people, and I've worked with my doctor on this, to cycle supplements. Yeah. So like moving them in and out, like not being on supplements all the time, giving your body a break, I think is really, really great. I'm actually really intuitive with my supplements. I'll do blood work like twice a year, but I'll really just kind of take what I feel called to do. And I'm less like taking 20 supplements a day, and I'm more focused on my food. And then I think the biggest thing for my health that has been so helpful has been magnesium.
Yeah.
I like shout magnesium from the rooftops. Like my mental health, my sleep, my anxiety, my regularity, like it's supportive for your nervous system. It's supportive for so many different things in the body. And almost all people are deficient in magnesium.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those things that, you know, you can get and feel a difference and not really see anything negative. So magnesium is like my favorite.
Love that.
Yeah.
Are you still vegan?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I was vegetarian when I was 20. I started being vegetarian when I was 20, and then I was vegetarian for 8 years, and then I was vegan for 5, and then I just started eating animal products 2 years ago. I don't eat meat, I just eat fish and dairy.
Yeah. Fish is where it's at.
Fish is where it's at. It's been really, really nice to add it. For me, it wasn't health though that I became vegan. It was more environmental. It was more social. It was more animal welfare. And so when I started to do it again, it was a little hard because, you know, I have this idea of how I'm going to support, and I had to kind of let that go. But it does feel good to have fish a few times a week and like be a little bit lighter on things, because in the end, I just wanted to also check if it wasn't like my eating disorder, kind of looking for ways to restrict myself. So I kind of had to start to make myself eat some fish to like test and see that I wasn't just using veganism as an eating disorder.
I was gonna ask that, was it? Because I very much was.
Really?
Like years ago, it was very much like, I saw all of these like beautiful thin yogis that were vegan, and I was like, I want that. I want to look like that. And then I would eat vegan, and I felt very light, and I thought that meant I felt skinny, but it didn't. Like I was just eating all these carbs and fat.
That was mine too. I was just eating all the carbs. I'm like, this is just, you can do it really healthy and really well. And, you know, my blood work was always pretty fine, but it's just, you have to be super mindful. But, you know, I think the amount of access to processed foods that we have is just so great that it kind of doesn't matter now. But I feel better, but I still feel really great not eating meat. I still feel really great not eating most animal products. It's something that I feel like works for me, even though like our world right now is so like dairy meat again.
Dude, too much.
It's disgusting to me.
Like I feel I do eat meat, and I feel a lot better eating meat, but the whole like steak for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I know.
No.
I know. What's up with the cholesterol?
What's up with the
I don't know what's
cholesterol?
best. It's,
like,
you know, we've had every conversation. It's like the meat thing, the not, I don't know what's best for people, but I just feel like when we're kind of swinging.
It's balanced. Like it was, you know, like I feel like I'm like the most basic bitch in the world saying this, but like you go to Europe, nobody's restricting anything. It's true. Like it's just, and they're all good. Like it's just, you know, I heard Emma Grede say recently, she's like, I'm European, I don't restrict anything.
They don't.
Like, dude, that's the way I want to live.
Yeah. One of my best friends, Jessie, Glucose Goddess.
Yeah.
Like being with her so much, like seeing her eat, like for breakfast, she'll have like a bunch of yogurt, and then she'll make like some greens, and then she'll have like a bunch of eggs and sourdough. And for lunch, she'll have like a bowl, like she'll eat full, complete meals of whole food. That's like healthy for her. She'll eat whatever she wants, but she'll stop when she's full. Like it is a different experience because ours is so much like bars, shakes, you know, like on the go things, not like sitting down full meals that like really sustain you. And so I've learned a lot watching and being with friends that are not from the States.
Yeah, same. It's always super interesting to me. All right, I have one more question for you. And it's, so being somebody who used to, like you would say you used to struggle with your weight, right? Do you think if GLP-1s had been a thing, say 10 years ago, that would have like massively impacted your journey? And are you glad it wasn't there, or do you wish it was?
Oh, I was saying this the other day. I'm like, if you would have told me in high school, you can inject yourself once a week and lose weight. I mean, I was taking diet pills. I was taking caffeine. In my book, I told a story about going to Mexico and trying to buy thyroid medication because I heard thyroid medication made Lady Gaga lose weight. And so I would have definitely been doing that. I mean, I would do anything at that point. So when I had kind of started to lose weight and started my body transformation, it was almost like my body transformed and then GLP-1s kind of came on. And so it was almost like really beautiful because, and I have no problem with them. Like most people that you know are on them and I have no shade. But for me, I was just like, I just can't see myself having a healthy relationship with this. And I actually was like, I really truly felt good in my body at that point.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like it was something that I needed. And I think the thing about being on something forever sort of scared me because I'm like, I don't know the long-term effects, but I think it's great for people. You know, my dad has Alzheimer's as an example. And I think it's something that's been really supportive for people on Alzheimer's. Yeah. I think it's helped people in my family lose weight because they're pre-diabetic. And so I think the conversation and narrative around it has changed quite a bit. So I really have no judgment. Yeah. But I definitely think that would have been something I would have been probably abusing when I was younger.
Yeah. I ask because I think the same thing, like same thing. If you had told me at 17 you can inject yourself, I would have injected myself 3 times a day if I had to. 3 times a day. Like
into my eyeballs.
Like whatever I would have had to do to make it to have that effect, I would have done it in a heartbeat.
For sure. I can't imagine if children must be having access to it.
Oh yeah, it's a big topic in the medical industry right now because like in food deserts where there are so many obese children, it's a big part of what Callie meat is it Callie or
means,
Casey?
Yeah.
Callie. So
Callie's the girl, right? I think.
Casey Means. So Casey Means is talking a lot about it. And there's legit, like, I understand the argument on both sides. Like at our clinics, we provide GLP-1s. They're so healing, especially in microdosing, like for autoimmune. There's so many healing factors. But there's a problem if we're feeling the need to put a 10-year-old on it.
I know. I know.
Like children's bodies should be so self-healing. But what's worse, if this child is already severely obese, we know the physical and mental and emotional impact that's going to make on their life. So is this the lesser of two evils? But what if, like you and I, they could have really repaired their relationship with food at a certain point in their life and done it without, and we're inhibiting that process where they're like, there are so many people on it where it's like, okay, I eat Cheez-Its for dinner and I'm good. Yeah. And I'm still losing weight. And it's like, we don't want that.
Yeah. Because then you're not, the relationship that you have with food isn't changing. You're just like eating less. Yeah. I think, this is in the world they talk about, they create the problem and then they create the solution, and that kind of narrative, which it is kind of true. If you have people that don't have access to any healthy food and only have access to processed food and food that's making them sick and food that it is a great solution for that. But that's not really the solution that's needed, you know? So, I don't know. I don't know. That would be a tough one. I can't say that I wouldn't be tempted if my child was overweight and we had, they were sick or, but then also is it for the parent or is it for the kid? That's the whole thing. So that's, know.
I was thinking about it the other day from my parents' perspective. I remember it was really hard on my parents.
Oh yeah. My mom's greatest fear for being a mom was that I'd be fat. She literally said that. Like she was like, my greatest fear was that you'd be fat. I'm like, not that I'm sick or like anything's wrong with me. Like nothing bad's going to happen to me. Like, it's just nope, just that you'd be a fatty. I'm like, well, so sorry.
My parents never said it like that, but there was a big, like they also just didn't want like,
I can't.
It's a harder life, and like they just like whatever.
That's so silly. I was at my friend's house yesterday or 2 days ago and I came over and her and her husband were bawling their eyes out. They were like, oh my God. I was like, what is wrong, you guys? They're like, our daughter, they'll call her Kendall. They're like, Kendall, she's gonna have to have glasses. And I'm like, what? They're like, oh, life is so hard. It's gonna be so hard. I'm like, I had glasses my whole life. I had to wear an eye patch like half my life. I'm like, what, did you guys have glasses? They're like, no. I'm like, it's very normal. I'm like, half the population has glasses. Like, what are you guys freaking out about? And so often these parents and these adults have this perception of things where they're like, life is gonna be so hard for them if they're fat. Like, it's like, it's harder if you're judging me all the time as your child. Like, what?
Yeah. But truly, my life would have been so much easier if I was skinny at 17.
Yeah.
But
Did you get made fun of, or what?
But I literally wouldn't be in this seat if I was skinny at 17.
What was hard about being, first of all, what's hard too about this whole conversation is like I don't know if I was fat or not. I felt like I was.
True.
Do you know what I mean? Like
True.
I think that I was. I don't know if someone else on the outside would say I was or I wasn't, but I think I did. So that's what's hard about the whole thing, is that it's like, is it reality or is it not?
I mean, I could say that I was clinically overweight.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I was 20 pounds overweight. You know, for like the scale, I'm 5'2", and I was about 160 pounds. That's heavy, you know. And when I look at photos, like I don't look healthy. I look my cheeks are like out to here. Like I'm just like, I look inflamed and like something's not right.
Yeah.
So yes, whether it was my own thought process and the way I was holding myself back, or genuinely other people just not, like, it's part of like human psychology. You know what I mean? Especially when you're a young adult, it's like a lot of your worthiness is like tied to like physical attraction. Yeah. So there's just that whole piece, you know? And it's,
from a brain development perspective, you're really all just about how you look or your worth being externally focused. And you're really just kind of your brain and your, you know, reticular activating system is just like, what is different about me than you? And you're really just processing looks for, you know, until you're like in your 20s when your prefrontal cortex comes online. So it's really is a part of the process. And I think you want to look as normal as possible.
Yes,
like
exactly.
I remember wanting to look like everybody else. Yeah, I just want to fit in. Like,
yes,
my hair needs to be straight. I need to like, you know, I need to just, whatever's different about me is like not okay.
Yeah,
just like you want to be normal, and being bigger is like, you know, was such a bad thing, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, such a tangent. I just didn't like.
I know.
I just
what's
think
the question
about it.
even? Oh, the GLP-1 thing.
If GLP-1s had been around 10 years ago, how much do you think it would have impacted?
I think honestly they've changed the world. You know, like it's crazy what.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think the last thing I'll say is the most interesting thing is to be alive in a time where there is a weight loss drug that actually works. It seems like.
Yeah.
You know, think about how many trials of different drugs there were over the years.
Oh, I know.
You know,
and there's just so like, yes, it's just so interesting to me because it's like I literally became a licensed health coach. I got into wellness, yes, because I wanted to feel better, but I really just wanted to look better. Yeah, like if I'm like being just
that's
like
most people
candid
for sure
about it, right? And it's like, yeah, I think that's most people. Like we got into this industry because it was like I just wanted to crack the code as to like how I could look the way I wanted to. So it's I just think about like where would I be sitting? Would I even be in the wellness industry?
Oh, that's interesting because your trajectory would be different then. Oh, that's very interesting because you would have gotten the thing that you thought. I think for me, even when I was at my thinnest, like I was, you know, thinner than I am now, and I was like 5 more pounds.
Oh yeah, it's never enough.
Yeah, so it's like I would have been on the drugs, but like it still wouldn't have been enough. So I still would have been seeking.
True, actually, same.
You know,
yeah. Oh,
like
yeah.
So it's. I think when people have relationships like that, you kind of. You're never well.
Yeah.
You know,
totally.
like I was always like, oh, what would it be like if I was 5 pounds less than this?
Yeah, you're 100% right.
So I don't know.
Even on my wedding day, I was like, now I have loose skin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like bigger than ever on my wedding day because I was just like so stressed.
I mean, yeah, same.
I was doing the most. I was like working out 24/7. I was just.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I could do a whole podcast just about that journey, but
of the weight with the wedding.
Yeah,
yeah. I just
lost weight, and it was actually really expanding process for me because I said I had this like loop that I was playing in my head that like, oh, I just will never be less than 145 pounds because my body just hates me. I have PCOS, and it just stops there. And then when I actually got into it, I worked with a trainer. She put me on a meal plan. Like I did the whole thing. And I was actually truly accountable to it for the first time ever. Yeah. I wasn't cheating on it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my body's actually like perfectly capable of getting to the weight that I want to get to.
Wow.
But then afterwards, it was this whole thing. Like I got COVID the week of the wedding. I went on the honeymoon. I ate whatever I wanted. I'm pretty severely gluten intolerant. So there was like this huge inflammatory response. And then it just kind of, that's where like the autoimmune stuff kind of like came in and it's like, is it long COVID? Is it stress rebound?
Wow.
It's like a whole thing.
Wow.
But yeah.
I have a part of me that's a rebel part. And so when everyone was like, you have to lose weight, when there's the pressure to lose weight for the wedding, it's like, fuck you. And I'm like, didn't. Like, I was like, I'm not going to, like, that was my thing with dieting, that like, there was always a part of me that was like, you can't restrict me anymore.
Yeah.
And so I could never actually diet. Like I would try, but it never actually would work because I would like resist.
Yeah. I actually like get that a lot. Like I resonate with that a lot. And it was only because I involved someone else that I was paying.
That's what you have to get, like someone that's accountable.
Yeah. Like it was only because it was like, and she was fucking brutal in the best way.
Yeah.
Like I love her, but she was literally like evaluating me each week while we were working out and was like, okay. And like literally tweaking because she was like, okay, I can see you lost weight this week. Like, or you didn't. We were doing all the things. I was carb cycling. Like I was running for the first, like all the things I know as somebody who's been learning about all this shit for 10 years out the window. I literally started the process and was like, by the way, I have a history of disordered eating. I don't want to know how many calories and macros and everything. And then I was like, what are the calories and macros?
Wow.
I need to know.
Of course. Then that part comes online that's like, I have to look this certain way for.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I'm like investing all of this other energy into this day and it's worth nothing in my like fucked up brain if I don't look the way I want to look.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I have a woman that I'm coaching now. She doesn't want to have a wedding because she feels like she doesn't look fat, or she feels like she looks fat.
Really?
Yeah. Like, it's like, what? Like your husband is like not able to have a wedding? And I'm laughing because I know that pain. I've been that person my whole life, but I'm laughing because it's just when you put it on the surface, you're like, what?
It's like when you say it. You're
like, when
what?
you say it, you're like, you're not giving yourself the beauty of the most beautiful day of your life to celebrate the love of a man that you choose to build a family with, and like because you feel like you're going to look fat.
Yeah.
Again, no judgment. I've been that person. It's just like crazy when you think about it, what we do.
Totally. I know a lot of people who I feel like, and it's kind of this weird interplay where like, I feel like my wedding was actually the first time I realized I was like, or I could like own the fact that I was like, no, I actually like attention.
Oh my God.
Like,
I'm obsessed that you said that.
This whole, like I had a 250 person wedding. 200 of those people flew in for it.
Wow.
My husband was like crumbling. And the funny part is he's like the extrovert in our relationship. Like he is the one holding court at any party. He is like truly the life of every party. But he doesn't want the party to be about him. Like he doesn't want a birthday party for himself. He just wants to show up to Christmas and everyone leave and be like, Mike is so fucking fun.
That's hilarious.
Right? Whereas like I'm a little more subdued. Like I can be more extroverted, but I can be more introverted. Kind of comes back to that like Gemini side for me. But with the wedding, I was like, no, if we're doing this, we're fucking doing it. And like, I'm going to go all the way.
Wow.
And like, I'm going to have custom earrings and a Chanel and like all the things, because like, if we're doing it, we're doing it. And like, it was the first time I really owned the fact that I was like, yeah, I am going to prepare for this day because I want to look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to make it a priority, even though I have no time for this. And it was like expanding in a way. And also, but then I talked to friends who were like, I just don't want the whole thing. We're just going to do like immediate family. And there's a part of it that I wonder, I'm like, is it like they don't want attention because they don't feel confident, or do they just genuinely like, is there that piece where like I realized I do like attention and they're just like in their heart of hearts, they're like, I just don't love attention. And that's cool.
I know that's with all of it, even with you on your body journey prior to your wedding. There's one side of it that you were led by like a hate for your body. Yeah. But then it's also self-care to take care of yourself and prioritize your body so you feel good. So there's always that fine line. And with the attention thing, you know, someone could be in their truth. I don't want to have a big wedding because it feels in my truth for me to not, you know, have a bunch of people or all of that. Or it's you're hiding and you like don't want to receive, or you don't want to like have that. I mean, I am like, give me all. I mean, you would know that, but it's like, I'm like, give me all the attention, give me all the, because I'm like, this is my wedding. These are people that I love. I'm like, I love them so much. They love me. I should be able to receive love from people that I so easily give love to. Like, I'm not going to deny someone trying to celebrate me. You know, that doesn't feel right to me either.
Right.
But it is, I think women oftentimes have a very hard time receiving. Yeah. I think men in the other case are often have a hard time with not being perceived in a very specific way. Mm-hmm. Like I love them, but they sometimes are very specific about how they're perceived. And if they can't control that perception, it's very hard for them.
Yes. Yes. That was a big thing for Mike, my husband, that it was like, I could just see in his brain, he was like, my cousins are going to judge me if the steak isn't impeccable. It was like, if like he was like living and dying by like, this steak has to be the best steak anyone's ever eaten in their entire life, or else like they're like certain people are going to be judging me.
Wow.
And it was like, yeah.
Wow.
Just weird things where I'm like, do you want to like work out? And he's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, literally. He's like, I'm going to look amazing no matter what. Yeah. You know what, babe? I've got to worry about that steak. Like, I'm going to put a few on the grill to test them. That's the thing. Humans are so funny. Like, just getting to know humans more intimately in my work, like, you meet them and you're just talking, and then they're like, the steaks with the wedding. And you're like, wow, how did this happen? You know, like, I'm not having a steak experience. Where did your steak experience come from? And just learning more about people's processes and thoughts. Like, you're just like, we are all coming in with stories and beliefs and just like, in this experience that's just creating this reality that we're in. It just fascinates me.
Dude, same. And it's, the more I like grow into it and evaluate others and myself.
I know.
There's so much. And it is because like for that like silly example, it's my parents, my grandparents, like my grandmother was literally like every single person. I remember we were flipping through a photo book one time. She was probably 85. And it was a photo book from like the 70s. And she was evaluating all of these people that she knew in the 70s. And every comment for every person was, oh, he either gained weight when he got older, or he stayed the same weight and he always looked handsome, or she let herself go, or she always looked put together, which meant she stayed thin. My husband, his parents leave every wedding, like, and it's like that food was impeccable or that steak sucked.
Wow.
That was the worst. That was like,
wow,
that was a terrible steak. And like, no judgment either way on both of those things. Like it's, I mean, maybe to my grandma a little bit. But that's important to my husband's family was the meal good. Like, and it's just what was ingrained. And it's just funny because it's like nobody ever told him directly, like the steak better be great at your wedding. Nobody ever told me directly, you better be 10% body fat. Like, but it was like.
You were listening.
Yeah.
I shared this reel with my subscribers. It was this guy and he was like acting like he was a mom that like when she leaves a party, she's like, oh, she looks good, but she let herself go. It's like, did you see her eating like 3 Reese cups? Like she's just putting like how moms and just that generation are just so savage about weight and body. Like I remember my grandma, she had Alzheimer's and she was kind of like losing at the end, like with love. But when she was at the beginning of it, her like thing was like we'd go to places and she would ask everybody how much they weighed. She'd be like, oh, what are you, like 165, like 170? And like just literally every person just clock their weight and talk about their weight. So everywhere we'd go, it would be like, oh yeah, what are you pushing right now? Like 190? Like we were like, dude, grandma, like leave him alone. Like it was just like, but that prison that generation lives in that's so binary about their looks or their body or like how much they weigh is just so painful. I'm so grateful that we have more freedom, I think. I don't know if that's true, but in my experience, I think there's a little bit more freedom with thought around that than I think they were. But yeah, they were so obsessed with being thin. It was crazy.
Yes.
Painful. So glad we made it out. Both my grandparents had eating, like both my grandmas, I think had eating disorders.
Yeah, probably mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were both like, sub 100 pounds.
Yeah,
forever.
same with mine. Yeah.
Yeah. And like.
It was like normal.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Bless them.
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my God, this has been so much fun. I know. I'm like, I could just rib all day.
Same. I could go for another 3 hours.
I really appreciate you. And I just feel so lucky, like, you know, to be in your life for that long and just to have someone like you listening just means a lot. Like it doesn't get past me. And I just feel really grateful.
Well, I feel really grateful for you, truly. Like I said this to Lindsay when I had her on, but I didn't have an older sister. I didn't have older cousins. I didn't have women in my life between the ages of my peers and our parents.
Yeah.
To really look up to. And during a time where I was really seeking more on all levels, you guys guided me. So thank you.
Receiving. Just by being ourselves. This was so fun.
It was.
I appreciate you.
Where can people find you?
It's Krista.com. So it's ITSKRISTA. I work one-on-one with women. I have retreats all over the world in like Ibiza, Switzerland. They're just really beautiful. Really, really, really special, luxurious, like 5-star experiences. And then Almost 30 is the podcast. There's like 800 episodes at this point. And then we have a second show that's like a clips version. It's like a TikTok for Almost 30, and it's called Morning Microdose.
I love Morning Microdose.
It's so good.
And the book.
The book, yes. Almost 30, the book is out. It's a guidebook basically to, for the person that's almost 30. Yeah. It's to help people in times of transition and transformation. And in the 10 years we've been doing the show, interviewing some of the most powerful, influential voices in personal growth and self-development and health, like Dr. Mark Hyman, Jay Shetty, Mel Robbins, Glennon Doyle, Miriam Hasna, Lala Delia. We just have such powerful insights from our guests over the years, and then really raw, authentic stories. But it was such a joy to write.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, I was talking before we started recording. I was like, I got the audiobook for myself, which I love because I can kind of just jump to each chapter, like whatever's really like whatever I'm feeling that week kind of thing. And I bought my sister the paperback. She's 28. Yeah.
Oh, I got her.
So I was like, this is your time, baby.
Oh, we got her the guide. That's my dream. Yeah. That's my dream. I loved reading the audiobook. I was like a ham.
Oh yeah.
I was like really performing.
No,
my
you guys,
theater kid came out.
You really put it on in the best way.
I was laying on thick. I was like, this is the thing about your body. Like they were like, oh wow. You could turn it down a little bit. I'm like, this is my time.
No, it was amazing. And it's like, it's truly like you listen to your guys' book and you're like so in it. And like,
oh yeah.
And then you think about the fact that some people have, which like no shade.
Yeah.
Like they have someone else read their book. And it's like, dude, it's so different.
So different.
Yeah.
Like one of my dreams in life, last thing. I want to do a voice of like a Pixar character.
Oh my God.
That's my like life dream. Mm-hmm.
I love that. Because you're like funny. So you would totally.
I like to do like just like a weird little character.
Oh, I love that.
I know.
Are you working on that at all?
No, not working on it. Just working on it by throwing it out there.
Just throwing it out there.
I was like, I should probably take some voiceover classes or voice acting classes. Maybe. I've done voice work, but yeah.
I feel like whatever would like just rip out of you, that would be like,
I know.
What's so magical.
It'll happen.
That's awesome.
I pray.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.
Woo, bye. This podcast was brought to you by Pureform, a comprehensive wellness center in Boca Raton, Florida. The website is pureformhealth.com, or you can find us on Instagram at pureformhealth. Feel free to message us with any questions, and note that you can connect with our providers for consultations over Zoom, from everything from stem cell therapy to hormone replacement therapy and peptide therapy. That's it for this episode of the Healthspan Collective. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring. Don't forget to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, we'd love for you to rate, review, subscribe, and send it to a friend. We'd also love to connect with you on Instagram. Follow the podcast at Healthspan Collective and me at Nicole J. Doran. And leave us a comment on our latest post, letting us know what you'd like us to cover next.